Welcome back. We are live in Tampa, Florida. But you can take the boy out of Miami, but you can't take the Miami out of the boy. So I'm joined now by another politician who's coming to me from Miami. It's Florida Republican Congressman Carlos Curbelo, who's running in one of the most competitive House races in the country. He's actually coming from Key West, probably the coolest part of his district. I'm sure that he's not complaining today. Congressman, thanks for coming on.
Chuck, welcome to your home state of Florida, and greetings from the southernmost congressional district in the Continental 48.
Yes. Very good. Let me ask you this. The president, the leader of the Republican Party, said this the other day, that the closing message for Republicans is Kavanaugh, the caravan, law and order, and common sense. Is that your closing message?
Well, South Florida is a unique place, and you were actually just talking about an issue that is critical down here, and that's the environment. And it brings together Republicans and Democrats in this state. Everglades restoration is one of the greatest restoration projects, I think the biggest restoration project in the history of the world. Republicans and Democrats have put that together. We're trying to solve the water problems here. So I would say that this year's election is a lot more localized in states like Florida and in districts like mine. So here, we want to fix the environment. We're happy that the economy is growing. A lot of people who had been excluded from the economic recovery are now experiencing it for the first time. That's good. But we also have big challenges like immigration and others that need to get solved.
Let me ask you on this issue with red tide and the algae bloom, which not everybody thinks they're totally unrelated. I had the boat captain I talked to wished that it would be declared a disaster area officially, that maybe that would provide more immediate resources now. Is that something that Governor Scott should be asking the feds right now in his current job?
It should be something that's seriously considered, Todd. My family and I, we've been vacationing in Sarasota during the summer since I was a baby, and I was out there this year, and it was really sad. And if you go out there, it does look like a disaster. Now, things have gotten a little better, so I don't want to discourage anyone who might be planning a trip to the state of Florida, but certainly it was a very difficult situation. The blue-green algae is no question a result of discharges from Lake Okeechobee. Everglades restoration is the answer to that. We're working on it. We just got the Water Resources Development Act signed into law. That includes.
Should the sugar industry pay for this? Should they be the ones paying for this?
I think
I can tell you what
everyone,
they think.
everyone.
I can tell you what they think.
Look, Chuck. A lot of people have been farming around Lake Okeechobee for many decades, and I think all of us have a role in fixing this. And certainly, we need to get Everglades restoration done. As I was telling you, Water Resources Development Act was just signed into law. Brand new reservoir is going to be built for more water storage. That's going to help alleviate some of these discharges into the ocean. And for us here in South Florida and the Keys, it's going to help us get the fresh water we need to keep Florida Bay healthy. What we're doing in the Everglades is trying to recreate God's work. Human beings over the course of the last few hundred years went in there and cut up the Everglades, built levees and dams and roads. And now we need to undo that. It's going to take some time, but it is fundamental for the future of our state.
Let me ask you a larger political question. You know Adam Smith, the Tampa Bay Times. He and I were talking earlier today about how maybe we have politics all wrong now, and that it is much harder to be a moderate in today's political climate, that voters not necessarily look for the person that can best represent the middle, but they're looking for brighter colors. You're somebody that is trying to walk the line as a moderate centrist. Maybe that's a four-letter word to some people. How difficult is it in this political environment?
It is difficult, Chuck, but there are Republicans and Democrats in the House. We're all members of the Problem Solvers Caucus, and we're trying to encourage bipartisan cooperation so that we can address the big challenges of our times. The national debt, the environment, guns, immigration, these are all issues that if we're going to solve them, we need both parties to work together. And every day we find that fewer people want to do that. In this election, you have a lot of people calling for a blue wave.
Do they?
You have the president calling for a red wave. I think what we need is a wave of decent, honest people that will go to D.C. and solve these problems. And we need some structural changes, Chuck, because I think most voters do want this. The problem is our primary system. The problem is the incentives that many in the media create for candidates to say radical things, to do radical things, because usually that's the best way to get on TV. And as long as that's the case, it's going to be difficult to build from the middle out.
Carlos Curbelo, Republican congressman from South Florida, I think representing part of my old part of where I grew up. Congressman, thanks for coming on, sharing your views. Much appreciated, sir. Hello, YouTubers. If you're watching this, it means you've checked out our channel, so thank you. Now do me a favor, subscribe by clicking on that button down there. Click on any of the videos to watch the latest interviews and highlights from MTP Daily and MSNBC. You can get more Meet the Press content every morning in the First Read newsletter. If you're tired of content that you don't know anything about where it came from, you don't have to have that problem with us. NBC News, MSNBC, MTP, and the Meet the Press mindset right here for you on YouTube. Subscribe now.